Here's that head after just a couple minutes scrubbing it. Looks pretty nice now. I mean, I really don't even need to go down any further and take the valves out, but like I said, probably do that just for the sake of demonstration. But I'm kind of surprised that this little copper gasket for the plug didn't come out with this. I'm gonna have to get a little awl or a little pick or something to see if I can get that out. It's kind of bothersome that that is still in there. I just don't really have the right tool with me right here to get that out. So right now, this is what I've got so far as my bin of parts. So we've got everything I've taken apart so far. Obviously I'm going to clean all of these pieces up individually. I'll probably even go so far as to disassemble the carburetor at some point. But this is where I am so far. Next thing to do on this would be pull these, see if I can pull these O-rings out. There's one. There's the other one. I don't know how old this engine is, but these O-rings actually look like they're in really good shape. Next order of business would be take the timing case cover off here. There's going to be a big gasket on here, and there's some more grunge here that I was not able to clean when it was all assembled. I'll clean that stuff up, but this big gasket is going to, big paper gasket here is going to be completely destroyed, guaranteed. That's okay. These things don't usually get a lot of lubrication and don't really leak a lot back there, but I've got another gasket maker I can use to seal it up. These 4 screws on this engine should all be the same length. Yep, all 4 of these are the same length. On some Enya engines you got 2 that are different length. I think it's on the 46. So let's see here. You almost got lucky with that paper gasket. A little bit tore off. Like I said, I'm not really worried about that. I'm going to end up cleaning that off completely anyway. Okay, so right now the piston is at top dead center, which is where you normally set your timing on these engines. So I'm at top dead center right now, and this gearbox just feels like it's just not going to require any nudging at all to get off, and there's also another paper gasket there. So I'm going to pull, just see if I can pull this straight off so we can observe the timing gears. Excellent. So as you can see, paper gasket more or less destroyed. These timing gears are interesting because there are alignment marks on each of the gears here, and you align it with the center line here, the mark in the middle, then you line it like that. Same here. We could be at the opposite top dead center stroke, so I'm going to rotate this around to the other. But those dots, the timing dots on those gears are so small, and if there's the slightest bit of corrosion, rust, or anything like that on these things, it's really, really hard to see. So I'm not really sure where those dots are in relationship to this. I've got the diagram and the instructions for these, but it's in one of these positions. It's either that position or this position with them facing out. I'm not sure. It could be this one. So your push rods would be at the lowest possible travel there. And then you got your intake push rod coming up to open it. And then your exhaust push rod or exhaust cam lobe is coming up to open the exhaust. So that's how that works. I am going to completely disassemble this. cam followers are right here. Just push those things out again. No right or left. And the beautiful thing is that it looks like there's really not a whole lot of gunk holding those things in place. They're cupped so that these push rods fit nicely inside there. So that does, and the push rods, as I said earlier, are symmetrical. So there is a nice little hole in there. Tap it there, the follower for the push rods. There's a small bearing in here, which hopefully is not bad. I'm going to try and clean it up. I don't even want to attempt to replace that because I have no means to get that bearing out. About the best thing I would be able to do is just heat this up really hot and try and just tap it out and hope that it comes out like that, because I have no tools at all that would allow me to extract that. I'm hoping that a little bit of oil, spin that thing, will get it back to life, but it's kind of yet to be seen. Not sure if this is going to, yeah, okay, so I can rotate it. So the bearing isn't frozen up, it's rotating. It'll be okay. Anyway, so this thing is probably going to get soaked in this totally awesome cleaner just to help me get these gaskets off. Now I'm going to pull these timing gears. They just drop right out. So this looks like a really nice engine. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of runtime on it at all. I mean, sure, these have got a little bit of, rust on them, and they're dry. I can tell by looking at the lobes that the lobes actually, there's quite a bit of wearing on the lobes there. It's really hard to tell how much runtime this engine has because the lobes and the wear on the lobes kind of makes it look like it's got a lot more runtime than the top of the piston or the valve, so I don't really know. But these things I'm probably going to soak in CLR and completely remove, that's a calcium lime rust remover, completely remove any evidence of rust on those things. And those things will look brand new after they've been soaked. Hi, Chloe. So next, let's take this off. Let's see how easy this is. It's got a flat on it, and it should come off just easy like that. It's got two flats on it. Front bearing doesn't look too bad. Pretty happy about that. You can see there's a E-ring or a clip in there, circlip in there. Right now I'm going to go ahead and take this front end off. Again, there'll be a gasket on this, and it's going to be destroyed. I don't have a spare gasket set, but I can make my own. That seemed to have amazingly little torque on it. But as nicely as this engine has been coming apart, oh, that's the one I didn't undo. I'd be surprised if much force was required to get this front end off, but sometimes you need to kind of wrap it with a rubber mallet just to kind of break the seal, because there's a big sealing area there, and if it hasn't been off in ever, then it could be a little tough, but we'll see here. Okay, so I was able to just break the seal just by rotating it. So front end comes apart just like that. Again, there's that paper gasket that's completely destroyed, not a big deal. We're going to be replacing that. Now this is where it starts to feel kind of notchy. I'll see if just cleaning these things up works. You can see this. Well, now that's a nice bearing. That's got a nice bearing in there. You can see that's the timing. I can't remember exactly what they call this thing, what the official Enya term for that is, but it's you can see it's got. I haven't even oiled it at all, and it's got a pretty nice spin to it. So that bearing is in fantastic shape, which is cool. Our piston here has the letter F on it, indicating that's the front. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this piston out. There's our F, indicating that's the front of the piston. And it looks like this could use some cleaning. That piston ring might be a little froze up in the gap there, but we'll clean that out. Not a problem. Now this guy, this is the timing shaft, I think they call that. There's nothing in there that holds this thing in place. It's just a matter of it's press fit in there. And that's how nice this engine is. I've seen some that you really have to wrap on that thing. There's that nice bearing in there. Just a little bit of LA's Totally Awesome cleaner and clean that up and oil it up and it'll be in great shape. Again, this has got a little, see, I wiped off. It's just a layer of rust, really, is what it is, because there's no oil on this thing at all. It doesn't look like, which is kind of odd. I mean, for an engine that has obviously been run, it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot of caster or oil buildup or anything. I mean, usually you'd see some pooling and some staining in here, but I'm not really seeing much of anything. So I'm really kind of confused as to how many times this thing was run. But again, this is a steel part. It's going to go in CLR with all the other steel parts. And I'll take some nice, well, you got a picture here. Here's what it looked like when it came out. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's cleaned up. I'm not going to do much of anything else to this body here at all. This thing is nice. I mean, I'll clean the paper gasket off, but that thing's in pretty sweet shape. So this piston slides really easily on the wrist pin there. I'm not even going to bother taking this thing apart at all because there's no need. It's in great shape. About all I'm going to do is probably put some oil on this thing and see if I can't get that piston ring to kind of move around. I want to find the gap. See if I can find the ring gap at all, and just at least, I think I found it here. I want to at least kind of pull it. Yeah, there we go. I just want to kind of pull it out like that, just so I can free it from its groove. This side's a little stuck. So we want to not make sure we don't break that, but I do want to try and clean that. I want to at least get the ring, and maybe I'll just try and take the ring off. Very gently. Really like to just get it to rotate around. This one side is wanting to feel kind of stuck. Maybe if I just let the oil sit on it for a little bit longer, kind of work it in there. Don't want to break that ring. Got a spare 60 ring, but I mean, if this engine doesn't have a whole lot of runtime on it, I don't want to damage the ring unnecessarily, but I would like to at least be able to get it to rotate. And this one side here needs to come out from the groove. I'd be happy if I can at least get it to pull free from the groove here just a hair. I'll let that sit. So our final thing here would be to remove the crankshaft, which I'm going to do. I just don't have the means to do it here. I need to put it in a vise, press it down. So we're going to go take care of that.